Very good afternoon, all wonderful viewers. I, Dr. Hital Thakkar, Associate Professor, Parul Institute of Business Administration, Parul University, welcomes you all on today's wonderful talk on Project Approach for Life Management. Today we have with us Professor G. Krishnamurthy sir. Sir is a mechanical engineer turned management professionals and alumnus of IIM Bangalore. He had worked in industry and business for more than 2 decades before switching to the academics. Sir has started his academic innings at Institute of Rural Management and IRMA as a full-time faculty member in the year 1994 to engage himself in teaching, training, consulting and research in general management. Sir has worked in the special different facets of project management and operations management, and he has also worked in the rural transformation. Sir has contributed a lot in the IRMA, and he was the highly dedicated and selfless manager for leading the community-based organizations for a wide range of rural, economic and social development, an exclusive body of knowledge relevant to India's rural development organization. Sir has worked with Indukaka IPCO via Institute of Management, Changa, which is near to the Anand village. And he has worked and appointed there as a Dean of the Faculty of Management. And he has created so many different assignments and the projects and the cells there. He has also established the Human Resource Development Center at Charuset and to take care of development of the employees at the Charuset. So later moved to the Development Management Institute, which is DMI in Patna, and Sir was working with that institute as a senior professor and dean and mainly contributed to support its director and management in its initial phase. He relinquished the position in April 2018 and to pursue some of his cherished dreams in the reality of the spiritual and social services. So at present, Sir has started his own creation. He is the director of a foundation for catalyzing rural transformation founded by him and one of his former colleagues from IRMA and DMI. During this long span of 50 years, his career, he has worked extensively with many development organizations and government departments and a few international donors and the institutions also. Sir is working as a consultant and trained hundreds of their executives and managers through MDPs and predominantly in the areas of project design and management of the agro-industrial projects, material management and the corporate actions for community development as well. Sir has contributed a lot in the management projects for the sustainable development and the rural transformation. Sir, I wholeheartedly welcome you on this occasion, and I'm really, excited to know that how project management can be applied for the life management, because a lot of to learn from you who is having this vast experience as far as project management is concerned. So over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Hital and Dr. Shantanu. And through you, my thanks to Parul University for providing me an opportunity to present a webinar on Project Approach for Life Management. It is just accidentally that Professor Shantanu called me one day and said, "Sir, can you address a webinar?" I said, "What is the topic on which you want me to talk?" Then I myself suggested, without thinking at that time, project approach for life management. Because of only one simple reason. I have been working in projects practically since I started, I think, earning my livelihood. Ever since I graduated as an engineer, I think I have been working on some project or the other, and therefore projects are ingrained, so to say, in my, I think, personality. So I thought, why can't I share something with the youngsters of the day on how life itself is a project and how the project management skills are absolutely necessary for managing this project called life. My motivation to some extent for this idea came from a book that I purchased a long back, but I have not read fully. It is a book called Life is Fundamentally Management, written by two IT professionals, or rather one IT professional and one possibly a businessman. Yeah, one IT professional and a businessman. When I looked at the book and the title of the book, to be very specific, I felt life is more than management. I think, to be very specific, life is project management. And then when I started reflecting over it more and more, I came to the conclusion that life is a huge project and an important project that has to be managed very effectively in the interest of our happiness, our bliss, our whole well-being, and more importantly, the well-being of all those people whom we get in touch with or come in touch with continuously during our lifetime. So it is with that profound motive that I ventured to talk on this topic called project management for project approach for life management. Now my flow, can you go to the next slide please? My flow for the presentation is very simple. It is going to be like this. We call it a flow, but I called it as a structure of the presentation. First and foremost, I will give a very quick overview of projects. And then I'll get into the so-called project approach. What are the different steps, so to say? Is there something called project approach? That itself let us explore. And can we adopt that project approach for managing our lives? And then I will get into discussion. So my presentation will be very simple. I will not exceed 30 to 40 minutes so that there could be a lot of discussion. So what are projects? Can we go to the next slide, please? Anything that we do is a project, one can say. Somebody very famously said, all projects are tasks, but not all tasks are projects. I'll repeat, all projects are tasks, but not all tasks are projects. That means there are some tasks which we identify as projects, but there are many other tasks which we do not recognize as projects. Fundamentally, for the last 20 or so many years, 20 or 25 years, there has been a growing body of thinking among the well-informed academics and practitioners alike that all activities performed by human beings across the world can be put into two broad groups. One is project activities, the second what we call as maintenance activities. Projects meant to create something ab initio. So projects contain within themselves, therefore, everything that we teach, that we learn in marketing management, financial management, costing management, accounting management, human resource management, whatever thing management with legal management, etc., etc. At the same time, to maintain something that we have created, we also require a huge body of knowledge, which gets into, which again comes under all these broad headings like marketing management, financial management, HR management, and so on and so forth. So it is a book that I loved reading by name Gilkey, Charlie Gilkey. He has written a book called Start to Finish. It became very interesting. He says that anything that it takes time, energy, and attention to complete can be thought of as a project. My simple question is, any activity that we perform, does it not take time? Does it not consume energy? And does it not require some energy? The slide, I think, has disappeared. The slide has disappeared. Slide, you have to connect again.
Yes, just a second, sir.
Yeah.
So, sir, by the time we, back with the presentation, let us ask me one question, because, you are the one who is the right person as far as life is concerned. So I want to ask one question, sir, that how will you defining life then?
How will you define life?
Yes.
Okay. It's a very difficult question to answer, but I will attempt.
Based on your vast experience, you have experienced so many things during this long tenure, and as well as you have had so many projects. And because personally, it attracts me a lot that when you know the title that actually life is something, is a one project that we should learn it, and we should plan it in the right way.
Okay, fine. See, I'm coming to what you call different stages of life slightly later in my slide, in my presentation. But since you asked me what is life, I think there was one very great philosopher who said the purpose of life, I think, is to find the purpose of life. I think it was Jiddu Krishnamurti or somebody. I think it was Jiddu Krishnamurti who said the purpose of life is to find the purpose of life. But I think some of us, yes, life can be as simple as having birth, playing, okay, in our childhood, getting educated in a school and college, etc., getting married, breeding children, getting some children, earning some wealth, and then becoming old, seeing our children marry, and then on a fine day, kick the mortal frame. I think this is the motion that most of us go through. Most of us. I think 99% of people go through. But I think God did not create us as human beings only for going through the motions that all other animal forms go through. Yes, a lion or an elephant or an ant or a goat or a plant for that matter also goes through all these stages. But what is the significant difference between the lower forms of animal and the highest form of evolution, which we call as a human being? I think God has given us acute intelligence that no other form of no other form of being possesses. Therefore, how do we make the best use of this intelligence to pursue things? And therefore, what should we pursue? I think at a very philosophical level, I stopped all my so-called mundane activities in 2018, or I came out of DMI Patna in 2018 to pursue a path of spiritual development. Sorry if I appear to be a little philosophical, but the truth of the matter is,
no, sir, when we talk about life is something, somewhere spirituality is always connected with
that is right. So I think the most important thing is to discover the purpose for which we were all born as human beings. Not as lions, not as tigers, not as goats, not as some elephants, not as some scorpion, not as snakes. There should be some reason. What is that reason? I think once we are able to find the reason and pursue what you call the path that the reason provides, I think we would have served our life as real human beings. It is very difficult. It is very difficult to get to that level of understanding and maturity when we are bombarded day in, day out by TVs, information technology, email, WhatsApp, now Signal, and whatnot, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, etc., SMS, bank statements, bank phone calls, telecalls, etc., every day. But then sometime we have to find time for ourselves so that we can really get into something deeper within ourselves. Now, the beauty of India, in fact, being born as Indians, I think we have that heritage in us. If you are born in the US or in Europe or in certain other parts of Asia, I think that spiritual inquiry may not come naturally, but it is something that comes to most of the Indians naturally. So that is, I think, my simple answer to your question on what life really means. More importantly, how do we therefore fulfill this purpose of life? I think you and I, when I say you and I, Dr. Hetal Thakkar, and I means Krishnamurti, I think both of us are in a very noble profession, very noble profession. What is the profession that we are engaged in? Serving, practically selflessly, the younger generation, enlightening the younger generation, opening their eyes, etc., etc. That means a selfless service is one important, path, so to say, to realization of this one, life's objectives. The second path is a continuous inquiry into the very purpose of life, apart from service. Okay, I'll get into those things shortly. Okay, I'll come to them a little later. So somebody from Harvard Business School, he said, when I'm a management professor, I cannot afford to ignore Harvard Business School. It is supposed to be the mecca of management education, management thinking. So he said it is a temporary organizational and process setup to achieve a specified goal under the constraints of time, budget, and other resources. It is something that I lifted from a book called Reinventing Project Management, published by Harvard Business School Press. It lifted. Okay. I think I have to make a caveat. Well, I have some experience. I have thought through projects. I have worked in projects. This presentation is partly based upon my experience, partly based upon the knowledge that I picked up from so many sources as an academic. So it is not purely experience based. It is a blend of my experience and learning from other sources. I cannot claim authority to everything that I'm making now. So a temporary organizational and process setup to achieve something. My question again here is one more, this one. Can we have one more? Enter. 2 lines are missing. Yeah. Is it not what we are worried about every day? There are deadlines. If you are a marketing person, you have to meet the targets. If you are a financial person, you have to, Nirmala Sitharaman, she has to compile the budget well in time by the end of this month or so that she can make the presentation to the parliament. So are we not managing projects on a daily basis? Then what is so great about the projects? So for that, I have to go to the next slide. So It is some sort of. So who manages projects? Every one of us. Right from the finance minister, the prime minister, the president of India, to the mason who is constructing our houses and buildings, everyone. That is why I said at different levels. But unfortunately, most of us are not aware of the fact that we are participants in a project. We are doing something because we don't know the whole, but we are not consciously aware of the fact that we are involved in projects. Projects are as old as humanity. After all, Shah Jahan built Taj Mahal for Mumtaz. Somebody constructed the Pisa Tower. Somebody constructed the ancient pyramids. And very recently we have that Statue of Unity right in Surat, near Surat. So these are all wonderful projects that I think people have been putting up. But then, are they the only projects that we are doing? For me, delivering a webinar is a project because it required a lot of planning. It required a lot of coordination with Ethel Ben. And they also required quite a bit of thinking. I didn't have to read anything. That is the advantage of experience. But then a lot of thinking, how to arrange my ideas so that I can present it cogently to the audience. And then sitting together and putting my ideas together in the form of a PPT file. So all this basically is a project and ultimately delivering it over a short duration. And similarly for you, assembled here for about an hour or so, it is a project. Project for which you are all assembled in the hope of having some learning experience, maybe at the end of 1 hour or so. So every one of us is continuously involved in the project all the time. But the fundamental difference between the generation of the past and the current generation is something that I have to talk. Now, when the when the agricultural revolution started, that was way back. Can we move to the next slide? When the agricultural revolutions started in the 1800s, people were more or less involved in one more enter. People were involved in what we typically call as operations. That means they were performing their operations, their duties, more or less in a routine way. Like, for example, a drugstore guy. He procures some drugs. Whenever the medical representative comes, he places the order and the goods are delivered. He sells whatever the customers demand. At the end of the day, he counts his cash, locks his store and goes home. To repeat it the next day. And maybe for 30 years, 40 years or so of his existence, he will continue to do that. So too with maybe the finance clerk, the accounting clerk. That is the case with many administrative personnel. Now that used to be the case, I think, during the agricultural revolution. But then during the industrial revolution, which came into existence somewhere around 1876 or so with the invention of the steam engine by James Watt and the publication of this book, The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, I think a lot of things started happening. Projects started gradually showing their supremacy. That means that people had to develop new textile mills, people had to develop steam engines, people had to develop new power stations, people had to put up fertilizer plants, cement plants, and so on and so forth. Therefore, operations gradually were getting reduced, but this was an era, 1900s, you can see a steep rise in the projects, green curve projects. At the same time, the operations, routine operations were gradually coming down. It came the industrial revolution, IT revolution, information society. And today, if you go to an IT company like Infosys or TCS or Tech Mahindra, you go to any of these firms or Mindtree.com go to any of these companies, or for that matter, Google or Microsoft, people talk in terms of accounts. What does that account mean? It is a typical project account. I'm developing a new version of an existing software, which is a project by itself. It can do something that the previous version could not do. Therefore, that becomes a project. Therefore, people are continuously working today only in the project mode. Now, this puts a lot of pressure on people. What are the types of pressures that the people are facing, and what therefore is in for the younger generation of society? This was the what you call very idea that prompted me to choose this topic for this webinar. So I can move to the next slide. So basically, a project, well, I said it is an activity, but this is an activity which is, there is one more, there is one more enter. Okay, one more enter. Yeah, that's right. Fine. So basically, I think it becomes very difficult for all of us to decide what we should do in the form of projects. That is the basic requirement, and that is the most difficult thing. And there are certain words that I have italicized, and these italicized words are fairly important. If we make our right choice before we take up a project, I think we have won half the battle in life. If we choose the wrong path, I think we will continue to follow the wrong path, possibly till death. I think that is not something that our youngsters can do or can afford to do. I think they should not indulge in this luxury. The second is a project, unlike a drugstore or unlike a production house, it need not necessarily finish. After all, production has started. Yeah, you go on producing, you go on selling. 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, it doesn't matter. A bank like Imperial Bank of India, which became State Bank of India, it is in the banking business. Okay, collect deposits, lend money, advance loans, therefore collect a lot of interest, okay, and manage the operations on a day-to-day basis. No, but a project has a finish. It is not something which is prolonged for ages. And therefore, there is a lifespan, so to say, between that, what you call start and finish. So there are time frame for completion. In the case of most of us, we cannot predict the time frame for our lives, but we can reasonably foresee some time frame. After all, 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. I think today, people have something like life expectancy in the case of male and female Indians around 70, 75 years today. It has been continuously going up. So we have to anticipate that we will live for such a long time, and we have to prepare ourselves to live for a long time. And it is a unique one-timeness. This life gone means gone, that's all. We are not going to get back tomorrow. We are not going to get back tomorrow what we wasted yesterday. That means yesterday is gone. Tomorrow we will not have yesterday. Okay? And today is gone, and we are not going to have tomorrow, the day that has gone. So basically it is unique one-timeness, an involvement of several people on an ad hoc basis. After all, we meet so many people. We are not coming across all the 7.2 billion people inhabiting this earth during our lifespan. Instead, we come across maybe 1,000 people, 2,000 people, 5,000 people in our life, and many of them we associate ourselves with for doing something, contributing something to society. And after all, we don't enjoy all the resources of the planet. The resources, as economists say, are always limited. And we have to see that the project is completed by sequencing the activities and deciding where the activities fall into, meaning classifying the activities into different stages. And therefore, that it takes us to something called life cycle and this life cycle stages, life cycle of a project and the stages of the life cycle. I will compare it to the life cycle of a human being so that we also know what we have to do. Can we move to the next slide? You have to tell me, Dr. Hetal, is my pace comfortable? Am I all right?
Yes, sir.
Or should I go a little slower?
In between?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah. I have received, sir, one question from the student that, our majorly as we are from BBA Institute, so the students, they are pursuing their graduation. Now, for them, there is a long way to go as far as their career management is concerned, or planning their goals, career goals are concerned. So they are asking that how they can plan their this thing as a one of the important life projects.
Okay, good. It is a very good question. I'm coming to that a little later towards. I'm coming to that. It is a part of this.
All right, sir.
So generally, yes, life stages. The first and foremost, the response to the student's question is idea development. What should I do in life? Okay. And to answer this question, I am giving you an approach called the GATES approach, GATES approach. And of course, once you have that idea, clothe that idea in the form of a good project. And then check whether your idea will work with your well-wishers and then start working on the project. If you are able to conceptualize your project, I think you have, I think, set your life on the right course. Then the implementation stage, which we call, that is a stage during which we create our infrastructure. We recruit people. We conduct a lot of trials. We undertake marketing communication. My product is ready to be launched. In the case of industrial projects, then regular production and sale, regular income, expenses, profit, everything goes. And then there is a stage at which a project generally gets closed. But the word closure is a sort of misnomer because no project gets closed. It is just like a banana tree. The big banana tree, before it falls, it gives rise to a lot of what you call small banana stems. And they grow into bigger and bigger trees. So have one project, it will give rise to many more projects. After all, you look at the Parul Institute of Technology, which today has become Parul University. It all started with a small project called Parul Institute of Technology. Today you are talking about something quite big. And can we go to the next slide? I am not going to harp on that. So what is project approach? Now I am going to answer many of the questions that your students have in their minds. I am going to give you some 4 acronyms. The first acronym is go-karts. Okay, we are all karts. Okay, our human beings, we can compare ourselves to karts. And the karts are driven by drivers. So my second acronym will be driver. And my third acronym will be smart. And the fourth acronym will be GATES. That's all. My presentation with that will be over. Okay. Now, G stands for goal. Now, my young friend over there, my BBA student, when he says, what should I do? I am so young. What is your goal in life? Have you started thinking of what you are good at? Did you join BBA because your father asked you to join? Your mother asked you to join? Your friends joined? Or is it because you are driven some passion? Ask yourself the question today. Does your mind really lie in getting educated and seeking a career? Or does it lie in music and dance? Or does it lie in something else. Find out what you are passionate about in life. I think so. Decide your goal on the basis of your natural tendencies, not on the basis of what the society wants you to do. So that is where you have to start asserting your independence as a human being endowed with will. Okay, after all, God has given us intelligence and will, which unfortunately other forms of what you call beings don't have. The second is a goal, a larger goal in life can be broken down into smaller goals, which we call as objectives. But then when do you want to achieve each of these objectives? For that, you develop checkpoints. I'm now a BBA student. I will graduate by 2022. And what am I going to do between 2022 and 2024? Am I going to pursue my MBA? Okay. After MBA, what am I going to do? Am I going to join my family business? Or am I going to set up my own business? Or I am going to join a corporate house? How long do you want to serve? And how long? Yes. What is your goal in life? I think when do you want to achieve different objectives to reach that goal in life? And to, well, reach those objectives, what you should do, define your activities 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And ultimately, it is very simple to say that I will do this, etc., do that, and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, all these activities are related to each other in some way or the other. What you should do first, what you should do later. Unless you have qualification, you can't have a job. But unfortunately, a job per se may not make you wealthy. Therefore, if wealth is one of your goals, one of your objectives in life, I think you have to think of something other than a job. So what is it that you want to do? So relationship. Will you start moonlighting, or meaning a second job, or will you kick your job? What is the appropriate time for kicking your job and starting something on your own? What are your strengths, weaknesses, everything you have to analyze. So how long will it take? In Ahmedabad, people say that when you start a business, you have to sort of rub the seat of the chair for 1,000 days before you can start money pouring in. That means 3 years it takes, they say, on an average. This is a very common proverb among the businessmen of Ahmedabad. Now, I mean, do you have the time to wait for 3 years? Do you have the wherewithal? Do you have the resources to sustain yourself for 3 years? Basic questions we have to ask. And therefore, what do you want to do when? When is the next question. Activities will tell you what to do. Relationship will tell you what to do first, what to do next. And then time estimate will tell you how long each will take. But the schedule will tell you how long will your entire project take, okay, when you sequence the activities. So go-karts, please remember, this is again not my acronym. It was an acronym which was developed in 1988 by 2 US professors by name Randolph and Posner. Okay? It is an acronym which is very rarely talked about, but I got addicted to it. Can we go to the next slide? So what is it? You are the driver of the project. Therefore, what do? In many projects, you have to drive yourself. When I say drive people, you have to drive yourself first before you drive. And once you are doing a project with the cooperation of others, you have to have a team and you have to reinforce. DR. And information becomes important. Shared information. And everywhere, vitality. Vitality means energy is very important. If you don't have energy, don't get into projects. Projects require energy. A lot of energy. Physical energy, mental energy. Both are necessary. Okay. I think people have to have that energy. Otherwise, you don't get into projects. Okay. And then you have to have the passion to empower yourself. And you should be willing to take the risk. So driver becomes important. As a driver, you are driving yourself, You are driving everybody else. You are reinforcing the commitment and excitement, which you can do only when you reinforce your commitment. That means motivation. And you have to keep everyone informed, information. And again, vitalize very high levels of energy, empowerment, and willingness to share risks. Can we go to the next slide? I will not talk too much on many things. And about goals, yeah. Can we go to the next slide? So goals are generally supposed to be SMART. Some of you might have heard the term. You cannot afford to say in vague terms. They have to be specific. See, there is one organization which trains a lot of entrepreneurs. It is set up by one of my students. He asks the participants to generate some sort of autobiography of themselves. Assuming that they have lived for 70 or 80 years, write your autobiography now. He asks them to do that. And ultimately, they are supposed to present this autobiography. He gives them, I think, 6 months or 1 year to write the autobiography. And that autobiography has one very sensible component. It says, what will be your income during the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years of your existence? Every year, how much are you going to earn? What are you going to invest on? How are you going to build the assets? And how are you going to deploy the assets? What are you going to, do for society? So be specific. Specificity is very important. Don't live a mechanical life. Okay? If you want to lead a mechanical life, don't get into project. Get into operations. Excellent. But if you want to be somebody, get into projects, but be specific. But we say in Japanese literature that you can't manage a thing that you can't measure. So measurement becomes necessary. In some cases, it may be difficult to measure, but measurement is necessary. Now we have to develop indicators for measurement. Yeah, I am healthy. Yeah, how do you measure your health? Your health is measured, number one, by your weight. Number two, by your BP. Number three, by your habits. Number four, by your lipid profile, your cholesterol and triglycerides and whatnot. By your blood sugar. All these are indicators of excellent health. And therefore, measure. Develop indicators for measuring your health. It is not only physical health, financial health. Simply because Ambani is earning something like a few thousand crores, don't say that I will be successful in life only if I have 15,000 crores or 20,000 crores or 100,000 crores. No. With reference to yourself, be realistic. The fourth arrow I have jumped. That means please be realistic. Please be realistic. Where are you now? Where do you want to move? And agree upon those goals with the people whom you care for and people who care for you. Maybe your parents now, your teachers now, maybe once you get married with your wife and children and your in-laws, etc., etc. So agreed upon. And lastly, time framed. I told, today you are a BBA student at the age of hardly 18 or 19 or 20 or 21 at best, maybe 20, less than 20, youngsters. But what are you going to be at the age of 21, at the age of 22, at the age of 25, at the age of 30? Can you think through very clearly what you want to be in life and want to become in life? And ultimately, yes, you will have something in life. Okay? But don't put what you want to have in life to start with. No. You start with what you want to be in life. And to be what you want in life, decide what you want to become, and then to become something, what you want in life. Okay, gradually go about it. Okay. So having something is not the end all of life, but being somebody is the end all, the goal of life. Being somebody, being somebody or becoming somebody. Okay, that is important. Sorry, I'm entering. Please enter. Habit. Can you go to the next slide, please? Therefore, I have taken some section from All the World is a Stage of William Shakespeare. All the world is a stage, and all the men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, birth and death. And one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. Can we go to the next slide? Okay. 7 ages he calls. At first the infant, okay, mewling and pucking in the nurse's arms, and then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face, creeping like a snail, unwillingly to school. And then, of course, and then the lover, okay, sighing like a furnace with woeful ballad, made to his mistress' eyebrow. Then, of course, the fourth stage is professional. Okay, then a soldier full of strange oaths and bearded like the part, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly with good cap and line, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise sauce and modern instances. And so he plays his part. So I think this is the longest part of our life. We have to prepare ourselves now for that life. Can we go to the next slide? And the 60 age shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon with the spectacles on nose and pouch on side. His youthful house, well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank, and his big manly voice, turning again to a childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. And ultimately, old age, last scene of all, that ends this strange, eventful history, is second to childishness and mere oblivion, sans teeth, without eyes, right? Sans taste, sans everything, without anything, okay? And all of us pass through this stage, okay? This is just for entertaining purposes to introduce some variety. Can we go to the next slide? Therefore, when we look at our lives, we have infancy and childhood, during which we have absolutely no control. We are infants in the arms of our mothers, and before infants, we were fetuses in our mother's wombs. We didn't have any control. We were children. I think we had our pranks, but then I don't think we could have developed anything unless we were prodigies. Prodigies, I think they don't even constitute 0.1% of the human race. Prodigies are a class apart. I'm not talking about them. Then we get into the transition. Childhood, before, moving to youth, has a phase called adolescence. And some of the students are maybe still in their adolescent stage in BBA because they are straight from school, 17, 18, 19. Okay. So adolescent pranks you will have. Okay. I admire the teachers who handle such children, so to say. And then youth. Now your planning has to start now. And you have to start pushing the project now. And during the middle age, I think youth is lovely, but it is a short. You have to enjoy youth, but you have to make the best use of youth. And youth has energy. Youth has a lot of virtues. Make the best use of those virtues to get into a beautiful project which you can implement during the rest of your life. And execute that project and harvest the project. And old age, unfortunately, L has disappeared. I don't know. A mistake. Okay, it has become old age. Okay, mistake. Sorry for the mistake. Old age. You have to prepare the next project for the next generation. Okay, that is our contribution. I'll go to the next slide. Okay. Therefore, the first question is, how do you choose? I cannot address. Maybe you have 60 students or 120 students, 80 students. It may not be, there should be one more bullet. Okay, one more enter. Yeah, that's right. So I'm calling it as Gates approach to project selection. See, God is not a fool. Okay, please understand. I think everyone on this earth is a genius. But it is necessary for us to understand where we are genius. Some of us are genii, so to say. Maybe in mathematics, maybe in physics, maybe in administration, maybe in business. But everybody is endowed with certain gifts. If you don't like the word genius, gifts, each of us. So what is your inner creative force? Start thinking over it today, not tomorrow. At the end of this webinar, you start thinking over it. What are you drawn to? See, I know a boy who today is a monk. I think he was doing his MSc in physics. He was a very calm boy. He failed several times in MSc physics. But then he was drawn to spirituality at such a young age. And ultimately he graduated and became a monk. There are several monks I know who are postdoctoral fellows from IITs, from MIT, Boston, etc., nuclear power engineers, computer engineers, etc. But I think they are drawn to a very different path altogether. But find out what you are drawn to. Some of you may be drawn to business and money making. Some of you may be drawn to serving society through education. Maybe some of you are drawn to fine arts. Some of you may be drawn to a life of total service and dedication. So find out what provides you a lot of satisfaction and what is the talent in you. So what are your native skills or capabilities? Some derived from your parents. After all, the DNA is very strong. Some you might have received during your nurture, maybe from your teachers, from so many people. Teachers during the primary schools, during our high schools, during colleges, during our formative stages. I think they do a lot of influencing. So some skills you might have identified. Tap those skills and what have you learned through your experience and practice. Okay. So if you are good at copying, excellent. Okay, become a copy paste master. Excellent. Okay, but don't misuse that expertise that God has given you. Instead, translate it convert it into an asset for you. Okay. Copying is okay. There is nothing wrong. After all, we copy from books, we copy from papers. It's all right with due acknowledgement. I have copied put here from Gilkey Charlie, start to finishing. I copied and pasted. Nothing wrong. But I have acknowledged. Okay. So what seems to come easy for you, that provides you the strength. Identify where you are gifted, what you are drawn to, what is your fundamental skill, native skill, and what are you good at through your experience and practice, and what are your strengths. Some of you may be writing poetry very well. If so, write poems, beautiful poems, maybe for the film industry or maybe for what you call the music industry, whatever it is. I know the case of an engineer who was an electronics engineer. He was working on aviation electronics. But I tell you, he was drawn during his career, during his profession, to music. And ultimately, he gave up his profession as an aeronautical engineer and moved to the music industry. He combined his expertise in electronics with his flair for music and came out with a lot of musical instruments. He started marketing them beautifully. So your ability to be innovative is very important. Gates. you are a genius. He was a genius in making instruments, so to say. So he knew raga, tala, everything. Rag, tal, okay, he knew the music, he knew what instruments, he knew electronics, and therefore he could do big business. Ya Rahman, okay, what is that? Okay, look at people. Okay. And some of you may be good at
But
painting.
I do agree with the things which you are telling, no, because in and out we are always surrounded among the youth, and
Yeah.
in academics I also spent around 16 years surrounded with the youth, and
Yeah.
I have even seen the change which is coming in the youth, like few things which you are telling, because now they are information overloaded, and few things is very easy for them to get it, and
Right.
because of that many a time the things which you are telling, they distract from the life goals that they are having in their life.
That is.
Sir, with this, I want to hand over to Dr. Shantanu sir. Shantanu sir wants to.
Is there any other
Uh,
slide? One more slide, is there? Can you move
is
and tell?
three. Shantanu sir is discussing few things with you, sir, and
Okay.
then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
Sir, sorry to intervene in between.
Yeah.
Actually, as per the schedule, we are supposed to wind up by 3:30. But we find that you have another slide to share with the students. But before that, I wanted to extend our heartiest thanks on behalf of the entire university
Okay.
and a message to the student.
Okay.
Because there is a say, mentors are also having mentors. Okay. So, students, faculties, if you feel that I am your mentor today, my mentor is Krishnamurthy sir. I have learned so many things. So today you are lucky you are listening to a person who is having real expertise on this particular topic, that is project management, and he is relating it with a little bit of philosophical part, I must say, with life as such. And I was listening, sir, very carefully. I wish I can again become very young and go back to that particular cycle. So thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot to you and all the students, all the viewers. Sir, please continue. Might be possible we'll be disconnected by 3:30 sharp.
Okay. Okay.
But you continue, please, sir.
Okay.
You please continue.
Can we have the next slide? And I will wind up. So, this may be my last slide. Think of the goals in terms of your physical development, your mental development, social development, and spiritual development. Set the goals, start setting the goals before you leave your BBA college. I think if you do that, I will be thankful to you. Okay, my webinar would have served its purpose. Okay, is there any other slide? Next, is there a slide? I think it will be a yes. So start thinking in terms of physical development. I think the next is in terms of your mental development, social development, and spiritual development. Thank you all very much.
One last question which I want to ask from the students, that if you can suggest them good books which they can refer to manage their goals and to set their objectives, which would help for them.
Okay, I will definitely. Since you want me to give the best book, I'll send it to you by mail. Is it okay? I'll search for the best book and give you.
Sir. That would be great. We can even share the same thing with the students also.
Okay, I may not have the student's email ID, but you can.
We are having, sir. We will share that same thing with the students so that they can explore and they can, take it as an example.
Yeah,
Sir,
one book that immediately comes to my mind is, well, please, if you have not read so far, not just read, imbibe Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, as students of BBA, you may not be able to follow the book totally because the language may be a little difficult, but his son, Stephen Covey, is no more. He got killed in a cycle accident, unfortunately. Cycle accident. His son, Cian Covey, had come out with a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teenagers. Okay, That is a very simple book having the same ideas. Please get hold of a copy of that book and read it. Okay. You can order 60, 70 or 100 copies and distribute to your students. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir,
Welcome.
for giving detailed insight on the project approach for life management. It is, really valuable inputs which you have given even to the every age group, including me. So thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. You are still young, very young.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome. Thank
All
you.
right. Sir, we are,
Closing.
on behalf of Parul Institute of Business Administration, on behalf of Dr. Shantanu, on behalf of Parul University, I'm really, heartful thanks for inviting, for accepting our invitation and for sparing your valuable time, sir.
Thank you very much. I hope you liked it. Let us hope to have many interactions. Okay.
That you have accepted our invitation. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Bye, sir.
Bye.